Hi, welcome to Arkintel. What if I told you that one man could soon be worth more than the economy of most countries on earth? A man so wealthy that by 2027 he might become the world's first trillionaire. That man is Elon Musk. You've heard his name, you've seen the headlines, but the real question is, how did Musk get here? And what does it mean for the rest of us? In a world where one man is racing towards the unimaginable, millions of Americans are being left behind. As Musk's fortune explodes, so does the gap between the ultra-rich and the rest of the country. This isn't just a story about one man's wealth. It's a story about how far the system has tipped in favor of the few. What's happening here isn't just about Musk. It's about a system that's rewarding the top 1% like never before, while everyone else watches from the sidelines. What if the future isn't about millionaires, but trillionaires? And what does that mean for you? Stay with us as we uncover the numbers, the strategies, and the staggering truth behind the rise of Elon Musk and the fall of economic balance in America. As Musk's wealth continues to soar, another critical story unfolds: the ever-widening gap between the rich and the rest of America. Over the past 3 decades, wealth inequality has reached staggering levels. In the early 1900s, the top 1% of Americans controlled over $4.76 trillion, or 23% of the nation's wealth, while the bottom 50% held just $730 billion, around 3.5% of the total wealth. Fast forward to 2020, and the wealth distribution has shifted dramatically. The top 1% now controls $46.1 trillion, or nearly 30% of the US wealth, while the bottom 50% hold $3.78 trillion, just 2.5% of the total wealth. While the richest have seen their fortunes balloon, the wealth of the bottom half of Americans has barely budged. This growing divide tells us that wealth is increasingly being concentrated in the hands of a select few. The problem isn't just that the wealth gap exists, it's that it's growing at an accelerated pace. For those in the top 1%, the mechanisms of wealth accumulation are working at full speed, driven by stock market gains, lucrative investments, and an economy that seems tailor-made for the ultra-wealthy. Meanwhile, for the bottom 50%, even keeping pace is a challenge as wages stagnate and the cost of living continues to rise. This divide raises serious questions about the long-term sustainability of a system where the wealthy continue to pull further ahead. A massive part of Musk's wealth comes from one key source: Tesla. Before the pandemic, Tesla stock traded below $50 per share. But fast forward to today, as of November 1st, it's now trading for $252 per share. Some experts predict that it could even climb to $300 per share if Tesla successfully rolls out autonomous vehicles and self-driving taxis. Between 2019 and 2024, Tesla stock surged by a jaw-dropping 1,300%, becoming the primary engine behind Musk's skyrocketing fortune. In 2020, Musk's net worth was around $28.5 billion. Today, just 4 years later, his net worth sits at an astonishing $265 billion. Even in the middle of the global pandemic, Tesla's stock surged by 677%, despite the company's planning to produce only 500,000 cars that year. Investors, many from a younger generation, rushed to bet on Musk's vision of the future, propelling his wealth to unimaginable heights. Tesla isn't just a car company. It's a brand synonymous with innovation, technology, and the future. For Musk, Tesla represents not only his primary source of wealth, but also his identity as a visionary entrepreneur who's redefining industries. And for investors, Tesla is more than just a stock. It's a symbol of what's possible when you bet on the future. This fervor around Tesla stock has contributed significantly to Musk's meteoric rise. To understand how wealth inequality plays out in America, we need to look at how the wealthiest and middle-income Americans accumulate their fortunes. The top 1%, including Musk, held nearly 50% of all US stocks as of mid-2024. Meanwhile, the bottom 50%, they own just 1% of the stock market. For the wealthiest, the stock market has been a gold mine, generating immense wealth for those able to invest in companies like Tesla. But for the middle-income Americans, it's a different story. Most of their wealth is tied up in real estate. By 2022, around 60% of American families owned homes, and rising property values have been one of the few ways they've been able to build wealth. In fact, over the past 5 to 6 years, median home prices have risen by 50 to 100% in many areas. But the rising value of homes comes with a catch. While current homeowners are seeing their wealth grow, younger generations are finding it harder to afford homes as prices continue to climb. This makes the home ownership a double-edged sword, creating wealth for those who already own property while locking many others out of the opportunity to build wealth through real estate. The housing market, much like the stock market, is becoming a place where only those with significant resources can truly benefit. As prices rise, it's becoming increasingly difficult for first-time buyers to enter the market, leaving them stuck in a cycle of renting while watching home ownership and the wealth that comes with it drift further out of reach. One of the reasons Musk's wealth grows so fast is due to his unique compensation packages. Unlike most CEOs, Musk doesn't take a traditional salary. Instead, his pay is tied directly to Tesla's performance, and these pay deals are unlike anything corporate America has ever seen. Take his most recent compensation deal, for example. It was valued at over $50 billion. Musk doesn't receive cash. Instead, he awarded massive stock options when he meets specific performance targets. This means that as Tesla's stock climbs, so does Musk's ownership in the company. Currently, he owns around 13% of Tesla, but if he continues hitting performance goals, this could rise to 20%. These kinds of pay packages ensure that Musk's wealth will continue to grow exponentially as long as Tesla's stock keeps rising. And with the increasing emphasis on innovation and technology, it seems Tesla's value could continue to climb, bringing Musk's wealth along with it. Musk's wealth doesn't just grow because of Tesla's success, it also grows because of how the ultra-wealthy, like Musk, structure their wealth to minimize taxes. Instead of taking a salary that would be subject to income tax, Musk's wealth is largely tied up in the Tesla stock. The stock isn't taxed until it's sold. Rather than selling his shares, Musk uses them as collateral to take out massive loans. Loans aren't considered taxable income, so Musk can live off billions without ever paying income tax on those loans. This strategy is common among the ultra-rich and allows them to grow their wealth while paying little to no taxes. For most Americans, income taxes are taken out of every paycheck. But for Musk and other billionaires, their wealth can sit untouched by taxes for years. And when they finally do sell, they often benefit from the lower capital gains tax rate. If Musk does become the world's first trillionaire, it will symbolize more than just his personal success. It will reflect a broader shift in how wealth is being concentrated at the top of society. A century ago, we saw the rise of billionaires. Now we are on the verge of witnessing the first trillionaires. But what does this mean for the future? Former Supreme Court Justice Louis Brandeis famously said, "We can have democracy or we can have wealth concentrated in the hands of a few, but we cannot have both." The decisions we make in the coming years about wealth, taxation, and inequality will shape the future of not just the US economy, but society as a whole. Elon Musk's race to become the world's first trillionaire highlights something crucial. It's not just about one man's fortune. It's about a system that increasingly favors the ultra-rich while leaving millions of others behind. As we look to the future, the challenge will be to create an economy that works for everyone, not just the wealthiest among us. The choices we make now will define whether we continue down the path of extreme inequality or whether we build a more balanced, fairer economy for all.